Welcome to Mysteries and Crime, your go-to channel for exploring the most captivating and perplexing true crime stories. If you love unraveling mysteries and piecing together the puzzles of history's most chilling cases, you're in the right place. Before we dive into today's story, a quick reminder. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to share your thoughts or case suggestions in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. It was supposed to be a quiet, idyllic weekend in the Sierra Nevada mountains. But what transpired on the night of April 11th, 1981, in Cabin 28 at the Keddie Resort was nothing short of horrifying. 4 individuals were brutally murdered, 3 children were spared, and the culprits, they vanished without a trace. The case has since become one of California's most infamous unsolved crimes. Let's rewind to understand what happened. Sue Sharp, a single mother of 5, had recently moved to Keddie, renting Cabin 28 as their new home. She hoped to build a better life for her children, but tragedy struck in a way no one could have foreseen. Sheila Sharp returned to Cabin 28 on April 12, 1981, to find her mother, Sue, her brother John, and his friend Dana Wingate brutally murdered. Blood stained the walls, and furniture was overturned in chaos. The younger children were found alive, but terrified in another room. But Tina was missing. The horror of the scene left the small community of Keddie shaken to its core. But as investigators combed through the crime scene, they realized the horror was only beginning to unfold. Why do you think Tina was taken while the boys were left unharmed? Was she a target, or was it a random act of violence? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your theory could shed light on one of the most haunting mysteries of the case. Law enforcement struggled to piece together what happened. The claw hammer and knife found at the scene yielded little usable evidence. Witness accounts were conflicting, and key pieces of evidence were mishandled, making the search for the truth all the more challenging. But the most chilling discovery was yet to come. Modern forensic technology, particularly DNA analysis, has revolutionized the way investigators approach cold cases. Tools like CODIS, the Combined DNA Index System, allow for comparisons of genetic material against nationwide databases, offering hope for long unsolved mysteries. Could these advancements finally crack the Keddie Cabin Murders? With each new development, the possibility of identifying the perpetrators grows stronger. Tina's disappearance added an eerie layer to the case. Why did the killers spare 3 boys, but take a 12-year-old girl? This baffling decision has puzzled investigators for decades. When her remains were found 3 years later, miles from the crime scene, the questions only deepened. Was this an act of cruelty, or did it serve some dark, unknown purpose? 3 years later, in 1984, a chilling discovery was made nearly 50 miles away from Keddie. A fragment of a skull, later confirmed to belong to Tina, was found near a campsite. The discovery reignited the investigation, but it raised more questions than answers. Who had taken Tina, and why had her remains been left so far from the crime scene? Were the killers trying to cover their tracks? Or was there another sinister motive at play? Theories ranged from a lone attacker to an elaborate conspiracy, but concrete evidence was scarce. Could advancements in forensic science finally crack this case? DNA evidence, once thought unusable, has been reanalyzed, offering new hope. Could this hold the key to identifying the killers after decades of speculation? Let us know your thoughts on how technology might bring resolution. Over the years, several suspects came under scrutiny. One of the most notable was Martin Smart, a local man who lived near the Sharps. Martin had allegedly confessed to the murders in a conversation with a therapist, but his statement was never acted upon by law enforcement. Another theory pointed to a possible accomplice, Beau Boubedi, who was staying with Martin at the time. Both men had questionable alibis and a history of violent behavior, but the evidence linking them to the crime was circumstantial. Some investigators believe the murders were a targeted act, possibly fueled by personal animosities or hidden secrets within the community. Others suggest it was a random act of violence. Despite extensive investigations, no arrests were ever made. The Keddie Cabin Murders left a deep scar on the small community. Residents who once felt safe in their secluded paradise were now gripped by fear and suspicion. Many began to question whether they truly knew their neighbors. The lingering uncertainty about the perpetrators added to the community's unease. Sue Sharp's surviving children struggled to rebuild their lives in the wake of such devastating loss. The tragedy also highlighted the limitations of small-town law enforcement, prompting calls for greater resources and training to handle complex investigations. Decades later, the Keddie Cabin Murders remain a haunting mystery. The case has been revisited numerous times, with new leads occasionally surfacing. In 2016, Plumas County Sheriff's investigators announced that they had recovered DNA evidence potentially linked to the killers. However, no definitive breakthroughs have been made. The case has captured the imagination of true crime enthusiasts and amateur sleuths, sparking documentaries, books, and online forums dedicated to unraveling the truth. For the victims' families, the enduring mystery is both a source of pain and a reminder of the need for justice. Despite decades of investigation, key questions remain unanswered. Why were Sue, John, and Dana targeted so brutally, while the younger children were spared? What motivated the abduction of Tina, and why were her remains left miles away? Modern forensic techniques could potentially provide new insights, but the passage of time has complicated the pursuit of justice. As of today, the Keddie Cabin Murders continue to be one of California's most perplexing unsolved crimes. The peaceful ambiance of Keddie, with its towering pine trees and serene mountain air, made the crime all the more shocking. Cabin 28 stood among a row of modest wooden structures, blending into its rustic surroundings. But after the events of April 11th, 1981, it would become a symbol of tragedy, a chilling reminder of the horrors that unfolded within its walls. Inside, the living room bore the brunt of the violence. Investigators noted the signs of a chaotic struggle: upturned furniture, a broken lamp, and smeared bloodstains that told a story of resistance. The brutality of the attacks indicated a level of rage that left even seasoned detectives shaken. Outside the cabin, neighbors reported hearing muffled screams during the night, but no one intervened. Was it fear that kept them from checking, or had the remote setting muffled the cries for help, rendering them too faint to provoke action? These unanswered questions only deepened the sense of unease surrounding the case. In their search for clues, investigators pored over the smallest details. Fingerprints, shoe impressions, and fibers were meticulously cataloged. The weapons found at the scene, a claw hammer and a knife, were sent for forensic analysis, but the results yielded little actionable information. The surviving children were interviewed, with Justin, the family friend, offering some of the most intriguing insights. He described strange dreams and fragmented memories that seemed to hint at the attackers' identities. Though his recollections were vague, they provided tantalizing glimpses of potential leads that were never fully pursued. The challenges faced by law enforcement in 1981 were significant. With limited resources and no modern technology like DNA profiling, they relied heavily on witness statements and physical evidence. The mishandling of evidence, combined with jurisdictional disputes, hampered the investigation. Years later, experts would criticize the initial response, arguing that critical mistakes may have allowed the perpetrators to evade justice. For the victims' families, these failures only compounded their grief and frustration. Sue Sharp, the matriarch of the family, was described by those who knew her as a resilient and loving mother. Having left an abusive relationship, she had moved her children to Keddie in search of a fresh start. Despite financial struggles, Sue worked tirelessly to provide for her children, instilling in them a sense of independence and determination. Her eldest son, John, was a vibrant teenager with a passion for life. Known for his outgoing personality, he shared a close bond with his friend Dana Wingate, a kind-hearted young man with dreams of a brighter future. Together, they were planning their next steps in life, unaware of the horrific fate that awaited them on that spring night. The Sharp children's lives were forever altered by the events of April 11th, 1981. For Sheila, the site of the crime scene would become a haunting memory, while Rick and Greg carried the weight of their survival, their innocence shattered in the wake of unimaginable violence. Theories about the suspects have kept investigators and true crime enthusiasts busy for decades. Martin Smart's alleged confession remains one of the most contentious aspects of the case. Despite reportedly admitting to his involvement, no formal charges were ever brought against him. Some speculate that law enforcement may have been reluctant to pursue leads that implicated local residents. Boaz Bubede's presence at Martin's home on the night of the murders has also fueled speculation. His background as a known criminal raised red flags, but his involvement remains unproven. Could the two men have acted together, driven by a shared motive? Or were they simply in the wrong place at the wrong time? Other theories suggest that the murders may have been linked to illicit activities in the area, such as drug trafficking. Was Cabin 28 targeted because of something Sue knew, or was it a case of mistaken identity? The lack of concrete evidence has left these questions unanswered. The Keddie Cabin Murders highlight the limitations of law enforcement in small communities during the early 1980s. Without the advanced forensic tools available today, investigators were left grappling with circumstantial evidence and inconclusive leads. The case also underscores the importance of proper evidence handling, a lesson that has shaped modern investigative practices. For the families of the victims, the lack of resolution has been a source of profound pain. Their lives have been defined by an enduring quest for answers, a quest that has inspired a broader conversation about the need for justice in unsolved cases. The tragedy of Cabin 28 serves as a stark reminder that behind every crime statistic are real people whose lives are forever changed. One of the most perplexing aspects of the investigation was the lack of clear forensic evidence linking anyone to the crime. While fingerprints and blood samples were collected, many were either contaminated or inconclusive. The absence of modern DNA analysis tools left investigators struggling to piece together the physical evidence. Witness testimony also proved to be a double-edged sword. While some accounts provided tantalizing leads, others were inconsistent or contradictory. Justin's vague recollections, for example, hinted at the presence of multiple perpetrators, but his statements were difficult to corroborate. The reliance on memory and anecdotal evidence underscored the limitations of the investigative tools available at the time. The impact of the Keddie Cabin Murders extended far beyond the Sharp family. For the small, tight-knit community, the crime shattered the illusion of safety that had long defined life in Keddie. Neighbors who once left their doors unlocked began installing locks and security systems, while others moved away, unable to bear the lingering sense of dread. Local schools and community groups launched initiatives to promote safety and awareness, but the scars of the crime were slow to heal. For those who remained, the cabin itself became a grim reminder of the tragedy. Over time, Cabin 28 fell into disrepair, eventually being demolished. But its legacy continues to haunt those who remember the events of 1981. In recent years, advancements in forensic science have offered new hope for solving the Keddie Cabin murders. DNA evidence, once thought to be unusable, has been re-examined using cutting-edge technology, yielding new leads. Sheriff's investigators have also revisited old case files, uncovering overlooked details and re-interviewing witnesses. The rise of online true crime communities has further reinvigorated interest in the case. Amateur sleuths have combed through public records, analyzing evidence and proposing theories that have occasionally led to fresh insights. While these efforts have yet to yield a breakthrough, they demonstrate the enduring power of collective determination to seek justice. For the families of the victims, the Keddie Cabin murders are more than just a mystery to be solved. They are a deeply personal tragedy. Sheila Sharp, in particular, has been a vocal advocate for keeping the case alive, sharing her story in the hopes that renewed attention will lead to answers. Her resilience and courage are a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure even the darkest of circumstances. As we reflect on the events of April 11, 1981, we are reminded of the fragility of life and the enduring need for justice. The victims of Cabin 28 deserve more than just remembrance. They deserve resolution. And for their families, the pursuit of that resolution remains as urgent today as it was over 4 decades ago. The Keddie Cabin murders are not just a tale of tragedy. They are a stark reminder of the complexities of justice. This case underscores how critical early investigative decisions can shape the trajectory of a case. It also highlights the importance of community engagement and the role of media in keeping unsolved crimes in the public eye. For many, the Keddie case has become a symbol of the unfinished business of justice. It represents a challenge to law enforcement, a call to never give up, and a testament to the resilience of those left behind. As we close this chapter, we must remember the humanity of those involved. Sue Sharp was a devoted mother. Her children were innocent lives caught in a nightmare, and their story deserves to be told with care and respect. Their loss is not just a piece of history, it's a call to action for us all to demand better for victims of unsolved crimes. The answers may still be out there, waiting to be uncovered. With modern advancements and renewed determination, there is hope that one day the truth about Cabin 28 will come to light. The wooded surroundings of Keddie, with its thick forest canopy and secluded cabins, offered both a picturesque escape and a potential cover for those with sinister intentions. Locals often describe the area as both idyllic and haunting, a juxtaposition that now feels all the more poignant in light of the events that occurred. Even today, the surviving children of the Sharp family and their descendants live under the shadow of the tragedy. They continue to advocate for the case, reminding the world that their loved ones were more than just victims. They were individuals with hopes, dreams, and an enduring legacy. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the chilling mystery of the Keddie Cabin Murders. What are your theories about this unsolved case? Could modern forensic technology finally solve it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your ideas and suggestions for future cases to explore. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share to support our channel. Together, we can keep these stories alive and continue seeking justice for the victims. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and stay safe.